My understanding is that cyclocross comes from 100 years ago in Europe when the first road cyclists thought it would be fun to ride their road bikes kind of off-road. And so it's essentially like a cross-country mountain bike race, but on bikes that are worse than mountain bikes.
I like how accountable a grassroots DIY event like Single Speed Cyclocross World Championships is. We're the ones that are throwing it, we're the ones that are responsible for it, and we don't have to, rely on anybody. We're on the hook for it, but, it's our event.
It's not like the standard super high for Single Speed Cyclocross World Championship. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek event, and most importantly, it's designed to make sure that everybody who's out has fun. There's going to be parties, there's going to be drinking, there's going to be a bike race, and a really cool ride on Saturday. So the formula is kind of the same everywhere you go, but it's fun and different each year.
This year is different because it's the first time that it's ever been outside of America. It's kind of a unique thing for a lot of the participants who are coming from America, and it's just a cool opportunity to showcase Victoria, which is unique and different from a lot of the other places where it's happened before.
I think this will be sort of establish, the scene that we've got here as being like a really valid scene.
People do it for fun. They do it for the love of the sport, not for any great reward or medals or whatever. It's just pure passion.
We've got the biggest density of single speed cross winners, in our tiny little weird island off the coast of North America. We've got a lot of high-level racers, high-level event organizers, and people that just genuinely like doing it.
Other forms of cycling kind of look to cyclocross as a time of the year when they don't have to take things quite as seriously as they do the rest of the year.
The cross community is special, I think, because everyone is just so supportive of everyone. Especially in North America, everyone really gets along. Because it's not a sanctioned race with the UCI, you have a lot more flexibility in what you can do, so they add some really cool features. So you never know exactly what you're going to get when you show up. There's a lot of variation that, having a non-sanctioned race adds some exciting features too.
I've done a lot of races with a really interesting course that has really interesting features, and that kind of distracts you from how much misery you're in, I guess. You're super exhausted and your heart rate's going super high, but then you go through this maybe a really fun downhill section, and you're like, okay, it's not so bad. Yeah, then you have to go up another hill and you're like, no, it's actually terrible.
I think the single speed, guys, lots of people will kind of they're animals or they're brutes or whatever, but when I get on my geared bike and raced it a few times this year, it was I was too worried about what gear am I in and did I shift up to the right gear? Did I shift down to the right gear? Oh, I have this technical section coming up. I better put it in my easier gear. That's it, man. My single speed, I just get on it and I just know you gotta ride it. There's no am I in the right one or am I doing it the right way? It's just do it the way you got it. It's run what you brung.
There's a hugely different vibe at cyclocross races versus other cycling events. It's a lot more sort of informal and inclusive. I think a big part of it is the races are quite short, so people will finish their race and then hang out to watch the other categories participate.
Even if you're not super fast, you can still have a lot of fun out there, which is not always the way it is in cycling. Lots of times to have fun in cycling, or if you want to win in cycling, you have to be super fast, and I feel like cyclocross, yeah, you got to be fast, but there's some other things that come into play that extra factor, so.
And because it's short, I think people have energy at the end of the day, and they're not worried about, a 45-minute race doesn't kill you. It hurts at the time, but you recover pretty quickly, and so you have energy to go do things, or to enjoy watching other people race, and the suffering and the camaraderie around that. It's huge. Everybody's really community-oriented at the cross races, so it's a really nice, fun environment to go into all the time.
The whole trick as a spectator when you're trying to heckle somebody racing is you want to kind of crack the fourth wall a little bit. You want that racer who's ripping by you and deep in the pain cave and can't see straight, and, trying as hard as they can. You want them to forget about racing for a second and acknowledge your presence and like laugh or be like, hey, screw that guy, told me to try harder or whatever it is. Like you want to get in their head just a little bit, even though they're focused 100% on racing.
I think people want to get a reasonable race out of their entry fee. So it's kind of like striking that balance between a hilarious shortcut that someone just did, but also kind of having a semi-legitimate race for sure. Last year was unfair, which I think is cool and fun, but I think we're gonna try to make it more fairly unfair.
So traditionally, the prize for winning the Single Speed Worlds has been the tattoo that you get. Some people have opted out of that in the past, which is not cool. You gotta get the tattoo if you win.
Yeah, it's right on the front page of the website. If you win, you gotta get tattooed. And I think the people who are contenders are pretty up to speed with that part of things for sure.
The race itself is not what matters here. It's the whole event, it's the whole experience. It's a spectacle, and it's fun to be a part of, it's fun to watch.